Morning, ladies. I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Fierce Mature Beauty. My name is Shelly, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing for my makeup today. And I really hate the phrase, get ready with me, because you're not really getting ready with me, but today's episode is what I'm going to do on my face today for makeup. So I have just applied my primer. And what is a primer? It is, to me, very essential for prepping the skin. Gives a nice even balance to the skin, almost like a base coat before you start applying the rest of your makeup. And I really like the brand RMS Beauty. It is a lovely product. It's got a bit of a pinky hue, and I'm just showing you as a description here. It's a little bit on the pinky side, but you can't really tell that it's pink. And I just put some more on, but I like to leave it on for about, I don't know, a minute or so before I apply the rest of my makeup, just so that it sort of sinks into the skin. The next thing I'm gonna do is apply what I like to use as my foundation. And it's not a foundation. I don't like using foundations, and on a mature skin, it just tends to be too thick. It starts to cake and it starts to settle in the lines. I don't like it at all. I like to use either a tinted moisturizer, or I have discovered something, it's a new product from France actually, the brand called Crique. I'm probably pronouncing that really wrong, so I apologize. But it is a tinted serum, and the color I'm using is shade 1 Fair. The only thing I don't like about it is it has a very small hole versus the dropper. And so you tend to get a bit of gloopy mess, which I don't like, but I do like the product. So what I like to do is put a bit of that on a brush. This is probably not quite a foundation brush, but it's quite a hard brush. I quite like it. This is from Sephora, it's number 70. And I'm just putting it all over the skin. And it does give a bit of a nice dewy glow to the face. And make sure that you're blending down into your neck or under your chin so that you don't have that line when you're doing foundation or serums, tinted moisturizers, that sort of thing. Excuse my hair, I have not poofed it up yet. I've just sort of wet it and it's drying at the moment. So that is it as far as my overall face color. So you can still see me through the product, which is what I like. I don't like to see a lot of masking. The other thing I'm going to do is put on concealer. Concealer I like to put on after you put on your foundation or your base coat, just because it tends to move if you're putting foundation over top of it, or putting, yeah. So again, you can't really tell too much of a difference, but I can. And this one I have is also from RMS Beauty, and this color is it's the UnCoverup, and this color is 11.5. So apparently with these concealers that she has, and they're quite tiny, but they go a long way. I've had this for well over a year, and I haven't even hit the bottom yet. You can actually use it with moisturizer as a foundation. So that's kind of interesting. The next thing that I use is a bit of powder, and I don't use it all over my face. Again, I want to see the dewiness, the moisture, the plumpness of the skin. Again, I don't like a lot of cakiness. So I'm using, it's probably a blush brush, but it's a nice soft brush, and I'm using from One Size. I'm almost out, I need to get some today, is a pink powder. So it's quite lovely under the eyes. It tends to blur a lot. And I like to use the powder over my eyes as well as your lashes. Lashes to help prime for mascara later. So you can kind of see the difference already. Again, I have a little bit of circles, but you can see that difference. It blurs nicely. And if I'm finding it just a little bit too shiny on my nose, I'll just go over my nose a little bit. So I am definitely now out. I need to get some today. Next stage is my blush. So what I like to use, today I'm deciding I want a nice bold, bright lip. And so I like to sort of color coordinate what I'm wearing on my lips to my cheeks, my cheek color. So this is actually from SHEGLAM. It's a red rouge, and I always use a cream or a liquid blush. Again, doesn't get into the lines of a mature skin, which is kind of nice. And this has got a really neat little applicator. And where I put my blush is the top part of my cheekbone. So you can definitely see where I have a cheekbone, which is right here. And I like to put it about there. So, and I don't need to put a lot because a little goes a long way. And then what I use, again, is from Sephora, a number 78 brush. It's kind of a stippling brush. It's firm. But what I like to do is just sort of put it around and tap it around the color and then gradually go out a little bit. So again, you have a nice little color. It gives that nice natural glow. You think the red would just be way too much, but in fact, it gives a nice healthy glow to the skin. There. Now this side is going to look a little bit darker because the light is coming in from my window, but it is the same. Then what I also like to do for today is I like to use a lot of illuminizing highlighter up here. Even though it does have some nice light to it, I do like to add just a little kiss of more iridescence, sort of light catching. Again, this is from RMS Beauty. This is the Champagne Rose Illuminizer. So it's not white. It's got sort of a nice little pinky, but very minimal hue. Just adds a little kiss of color. So what I like to do is just use a little sponge, and I'm just tapping a bit of that on and just gently tapping it just basically where the eye socket and the cheekbone meet. So that little hint of iridescence that you see there. Okay, next is eyes that I like to do. Eyes and brows. So because I'm doing a dramatic lip, the rest of your face needs to be a little bit toned down. Too much of everything is too much, especially on mature skin. So I have very bushy eyebrows and they can get a little out of control. So I like to use a brow gel. I have used the MAC brow set, or I'm also loving the Anastasia Brow Freeze. And this one is just in clear. So it has a nice little applicator tip. And I'm just sort of brushing those brows up and to the side. I also have another mirror here that I'm looking at besides my phone. So, all right, that's it for that. The only thing I'm going to do for my eyes is mascara. And I really like tubing mascara a lot. I tend to laugh, smile, and my eyes really catch a lot of the regular mascaras, so I end up with raccoon eyes at the end of the day. Don't like that. So I found that tubing mascara works really well. I have tried Blink, I have tried Cali Ray. I really like that as well, but I've also discovered from the drugstore Milani, and it's really good. So, and it's cheaper than getting something at Sephora. So again, just going in. What I like to do is get at the base and just sort of go back and forth. Look at how long those lashes and that clump is. Just gives nice definition. So just like that. And then I do a little bit on my lower lashes. So just a little bit here and just a little bit there. I don't do it all the way around, otherwise you're gonna look like a spider. So that's it for eyes. Very simple. Okay, next is lips. So like I said, I'm gonna do a nice bright red lip. It's sort of a little bit on the orangey side, but it really pops. I have had so many compliments on this color. Again, it's from SHEGLAM, and the color is Heartthrob. It's called Heartthrob. So I never use a liner. Again, I find that it tends to migrate a bit. You can use some powder over a liner to help that. But again, I don't like to fuss too much with my makeup, and I want to just go. So what I do, what I like about this SHEGLAM is it sets after it dries. So you can generally go about your day without it really coming off, which is really quite nice. I will say that, yes, it will come off with food. So I just reapply after lunch, but otherwise, so this color is quite amazing. And what I do is I start at the bottom lip and come around, and then the top. And I don't have a great Cupid's bow, but I just try and outline the lips a bit. That I went over, so we're going to fix that with a little cotton bud. And yes, we all make mistakes. So there is my lovely red lip. And as you can see, it is definitely an orangey color. So it goes on quite nice. I quite like this one. So there we go. We have my face done, and I'm just going to kind of get ready for the rest of my hair. Do a little bit of this for my curls and put my glasses on. And I am ready to go. We'll see you next time.